The rain drummed softly against the tall glass windows of the city's most expensive restaurant, a place where the powerful came to celebrate their victories, and the poor came only to serve them. Among the soft lights and crystal tables moved Lena Parker, a 22-year-old waitress with tired eyes and a quiet grace. She had learned to smile through pain, to hide hunger behind humility and heartbreak behind hope. Her mother was sick at home, her father long gone, and her every tip was a fight for survival. But tonight fate had arranged a meeting that would change everything. Before we go further, take a second to support everyday heroes. If you believe in stories that remind us of kindness, hope, and the power of humanity, please like, comment, and subscribe right now. It helps us share more stories that touch hearts and change minds. The restaurant, Celeste, glittered like a palace. Soft jazz floated through the air, mingling with the scent of roasted herbs and expensive wine. Waiters in crisp white shirts glided between tables, every movement rehearsed, every smile calculated. Lena adjusted her apron in the mirror. Her reflection looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes, a loose strand of hair clinging to her cheek. She forced a smile anyway. "You can do this," she whispered to herself. Just one more shift for Mom. Outside, lightning flashed, illuminating a sleek black car that rolled to a stop in front of the restaurant. The doorman straightened his coat. "He's here?" someone whispered. The door swung open. A man stepped inside, tall, sharp, confident. His presence shifted the air like a storm. "Alexander Grant," murmured a hostess, her voice tinged with awe. The name traveled through the restaurant like a secret prayer. Alexander Grant, billionaire CEO, the man whose companies built half the city, known for his ruthless ambition, his cold heart, and untouchable success. To most, he was a god among men. To Lena, he was just another customer. Another reminder that some people were born into a world she'd never touch. Alexander sat alone at the corner table, scrolling through his phone. The flicker of the screen cast sharp lines across his face. Handsome but wary, like someone who had forgotten what peace looked like. Lena approached quietly. "Good evening, sir. May I take your order?" He didn't look up. "Steak. Medium rare." She nodded politely and turned, but her eyes caught something odd, a framed paper beside his glass. It wasn't a menu. It was an old handwritten quote, faded at the edges. "A true businessman builds not to be rich, but to be worthy." James Parker. Lena froze. Her pulse spiked. Her breath hitched in her throat. "Excuse me," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Sir, where did you get this?" Alexander looked up, irritated. "What?" She pointed to the frame, her hands shaking. "That quote. Those are my father's words. And that's his signature. He died years ago." For a long second, silence swallowed the room. Then, crash! The glass slipped from Alexander's hand and shattered against the floor. Every head turned. The billionaire didn't move. He just stared at her, eyes wide, face pale, the arrogance drained away. "Your father was James Parker," he whispered. Lena nodded, confused and frightened. "Yes, you knew him?" Alexander's lips parted, but no sound came. Then, in a hoarse voice, "Know him. He saved my life." The words hit Lena like a wave. "My father saved you." Alexander leaned back, eyes distant, as if looking into a past he had buried deep. "I wasn't always this," he said quietly. "The suits, the money, the empire. It came much later. Years ago, I was just a lost kid with a pile of failures and a car full of debts. I had no family, no job, no reason to wake up. I thought it would be easier to end it." His voice cracked. The restaurant faded into silence. Even the music seemed to stop listening. "I drove to the bridge," he continued. "The rain was pouring, just like tonight. I stood there ready to jump, but then someone spoke. A man with kind eyes and a worn jacket. He said, 'Don't end it here, son. You haven't failed. You've just started.'" Tears welled in Lena's eyes. "He took me home," Alexander whispered, "gave me food, a bed, advice. He told me about honesty, courage, and purpose. Before I left, he gave me his last few savings and said, 'Build something honest. Don't chase wealth, create worth.'" Alexander's voice broke completely. "That man was your father." Lena covered her mouth. Her body trembled. "He never told us," she said softly. "He just said he helped a man who'd lost his way." Alexander nodded. "He helped me find mine." The billionaire who had once seen waitresses as invisible now saw one as his savior's daughter. That night, Alexander didn't leave after his meal. He sat there, staring at the framed quote that had followed him everywhere since that night, his daily reminder of the man who gave him a second chance. "Lena," he said quietly, "I owe your father my life, and maybe I can start by helping his." She tried to protest, but he stopped her. "Please, let me do this, not out of pity but gratitude. In the weeks that followed, Alexander visited Lena's small apartment. He met her mother, frail, kind, her smile filled with the same warmth her husband once had. He covered her medical bills, arranged treatment, and made sure she never went to bed hungry again. But more than money, he gave Lena something she had never been offered before: opportunity. He helped her get into business school, mentored her personally, and watched as her confidence slowly replaced the exhaustion in her eyes. Months later, a grand event filled the city's hall. Cameras flashed, journalists buzzed, and banners read, "The James Parker Foundation for Second Chances." It was Alexander's new dream, a foundation built to help people who had fallen, just like he once had, rise again. He stood before the crowd, microphone trembling in his hands. "I stand here today," he said, his voice thick with emotion, not as a self-made man, but as a saved man. He paused, his eyes glistening. The man who saved me was not a billionaire, not a CEO, not even a rich man. He was a simple builder, named James Parker, who saw value where others saw failure. And everything I am today is because he believed in me. In the front row, Lena's eyes overflowed. The hall blurred through her tears. Her father's legacy, the man the world had forgotten, now lived in light and hope, in every second chance given that day. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to support everyday heroes! Tap Lee. Share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more real, emotional stories that restore faith in humanity. After the event, as the crowd dispersed and the city lights flickered against the night sky, Alexander stood alone on the terrace. Rain began to fall again, soft, gentle, like an echo of the night years ago. He looked up, whispering into the wind, "Thank you, James, for saving my life twice, once when I was lost and once through your daughter." Lena joined him quietly, holding the framed quote in her hands. "You kept it all these years," she said softly. "I couldn't forget," he replied. "It reminded me of who I wanted to be." They stood there in silence. Two souls bound by kindness, not blood. The rain washed over the city, and for the first time in years, Alexander Grant, the man who had everything, finally found peace. Sometimes the smallest act of kindness becomes the seed of someone's greatest redemption. James Parker didn't build skyscrapers. He built lives. And through him, the world learned that real wealth isn't in what we own, but in what we give.